Well, we are on day 3 of our e-learning, and that means that we're going to be on volume of spheres. But before we get started, we cannot start without another math joke. So here's your math joke for the day. Why is the obtuse triangle always so frustrated? Well, because it never is right. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started with today's notes. I am hoping that cylinder and cone went really well for you guys. As I'm making this video, this is before you even had a chance to do the Google assignments for the cylinder and cone, but I'll try not to get too far ahead, just so if there are any confusions or misconceptions going on, I can try and address that and fix that in one of my videos before we get too far along. Well, anyway, again, make sure that you have a copy of these notes. So either print it off from another computer. If you don't have access to that capability, no big deal. Just grab a sheet of notebook paper. As you can see, I am only doing 2 problems, so I'm not making it so you have to rewrite a ton of problems so you can get caught up to where I am. So once you have this copied, let's continue. Our volume formulas, again, are here at the top. We're going to take a look at the shapes that we're working with. And the shape that we're working with today, these are spheres. So I'm going to go ahead and label this that we have a sphere. And then I'm also going to copy down the volume formula. So the volume is 4/3 pi r cubed, remembering that r represents radius. So what we're going to do next is try and make sure that we can make our substitutions. So we're going to leave pi as the symbol, but for r, for our radius, let's identify that from our figure. And so this is going to be the center of our sphere to the outer edge, okay, and it is labeled as 3 millimeters. So we'll go ahead and use r equals 3. Then I'm going to rewrite my formula and make my substitutions as needed. So 4/3 pi times 3 to the power of 3. My next step is going to do that. So a quick reminder on how we do to the power of 3 in our calculator. So if I do 3, I'm going to use this key right here. Okay, so that'll be to the power of, and this is cubed, or to the power of 3. So I type that in next, and I hit enter, and I can see that it is 27. Or what we could do is 3 times 3 times 3 to get that 27. So everything will get recopied, and now I'm just going to have 27. My next step is going to be to take that 27 and multiply it by 4/3. And when I do that, I get 36. So V equals 36, so we write that first. My constant, we're going to use it as a coefficient with pi as the variable. 36 pi, we'll label this as millimeters cubed. And this is our most accurate answer in terms of pi. The next thing I'm going to do is round this. Okay, or get a rounded answer. So I have 36 pi, and rounding to the nearest hundredth, so hundredths 2 places after the decimal point, I'm going to look at the third number, which is 7. The 7 tells me that I'm going to take that 9 and round up, and so it'll be 113 and 10 hundredths. So my volume is 113 and 10 hundredths millimeters cubed. Okay. Volume of a sphere. Okay. So that is our first example done for you. Let's go ahead and try this one more time. So again, taking a look at this shape, I have a sphere. So I'm going to identify that I have a sphere. I'm going to go ahead and write down the formula. So 4/3 pi r cubed. And then I'm going to go ahead and take a look at my figure. I have the diameter is 10. So diameter is from one edge of the circle passing through the center to the opposite side of the circle. So a straight line. And so we don't need diameter, we need the radius. The radius is half of that, so half of 10 is 5. So if I would go from the center of my sphere to the outer edge, that's how I get 5. Now my next step is going to make my substitutions into this formula. So 4/3 pi, and instead of writing r, instead of having my radius is now 5. So 5 to the power of 3. My next step is I'm going to recopy this, but I'm going to calculate 5 to the power of 3. So 5 cubed. Again, 5 to the power of, so this button right here gives me to the power of 3. Then I hit enter and I get 125. So writing down my constants, 4/3, write down the symbol pi times 125. Now my next step, we'll multiply the constants together, okay, and then leave our answer in terms of pi. So I have 125, I'm going to do times pi. Oops, I'm not thinking. 125 times my fraction, 4/3. There we go. And this time it gives me a fraction, 166 2/3. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 166 2/3. Leave it in terms of pi. I'm going to label it as feet cubed. And I'm going to remember this as this is the most accurate answer because we don't know an exact answer for pi. And so we had nothing to round. My last step, we are going to calculate pi, and then we are going to have to round. So I'm going to go ahead and do times pi. And here we go. Again, rounding to the hundredths, that's 2 places after the decimal point. We look at the third number. This 8 tells me that I'm going to take the 9 and round up 1. So instead of having 59 hundredths, I'll have 60 hundredths. So my final answer is 523 and 60 hundredths feet cubed. And that's it. And that's it for today's notes. Hey, make sure that you guys are staying safe. Make sure you're staying healthy. And I look forward to talking to you on my next video. Bye now.